Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you found your way here. I'm Karleen, I'm your host, and this topic is really exciting to me. We're going to be diving into the shift of ages and what's coming up for us with this Pluto going retrograde in Capricorn and what that might set off, what that might kick off, what is already in motion, and what I'm picking up from spirit in the realm of spirit that is important for us to know moving forward. This video is intended to help you navigate, plan, see ahead. Okay, so let's get started. What am I on about? Before I do that, once again, don't hesitate to click like, subscribe, and share, and drop a comment on what you pick up on and what you're perceiving and how you felt this video came through for you. So let's dive in. And it's Pluto going retrograde in Capricorn in September. Why am I doing it now? Because it's intense. This Pluto retrograde is an intense cycle anyways, and Pluto moved into Aquarius where it's going to stay for the next 20 years, and every time Pluto was in Aquarius, something shifted on this planet. We're going to go through the times and see what shifted, what happened. Okay, we're going to do that. And but this time Pluto went back into Aquarius, started retrograding from May 2nd, is going even further back into Capricorn from September into the first 2 weeks of October-ish, and then it's going to start moving forward again through Capricorn back into Aquarius, where it's going to stay from mid-November-ish till 2043. And we are going to see some changes. Yes. At the end of these 20 years, we are not going to recognize what lies ahead of us. We're not going to, we can't even fathom what's going to come out of these changes and what the world is going to be looking like in 2044, for example. Okay. But one thing we can guess is that the 20 years until then are going to become a little bit more dogmatic. They're going to become a little bit more forced structure because this consciousness has to arise in order to create the new structures that humanity is going to be living in and inhabiting. So in regards to, being, because some people are thinking, oh, the elections in the States, this is actually a deeper issue in the sense that some people hypothesize that Trump, because he chose J.D. Vance, he's actually catering to Peter Thiel, who is behind a lot of who's able to implement through his connections, his intentions, you name it, certain AI technologies which would be utilized to tag all of us, and it would force a collective system on us, working in line with the banks, because the banks are the ones that actually run this whole thing, and that's a whole other video. But yeah, and that the Democrat side is really also for a more authoritarian step forward, but a left-leaning authoritarianism. So it doesn't matter which direction Americans go down in the upcoming election. A little bit of authoritarianism is coming our way. It's part of the times, and we're going to dive into what that means for us, but also the rise of AI. We're moving out of the information age. This is a period in this modern era that we were in, or that we are in. And the information, there are several eras that humanity's moved through, right? So, of course, we have the prehistoric era to approximately 600 BC. The three ages in that era were the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, in which humanity learned to use with all these tools and also started building cities. And we have the classical era, and this is ancient Greece, ancient Rome, the Byzantine empires. Then we have the Middle Ages, right? Then we have the early modern era, which is the Age of Enlightenment kind of time frame, the European Renaissance, Protestant Reformation, so on and so forth. And we're now in the modern era, but there are 9 periods within this modern era. The first industrial revolution, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. The revolutionary period, the age of imperialism, Victorian era, second industrial revolution, World War I, Great Depression, World War II, and the third revolution, industrial revolution, as well as the contemporary period, which began in 1945, which we also call the information age. So that's what we are currently pivoting out of. And that out pivot started with Pluto going going into Aquarius, that this would be a time of shift and change. Now, my guide said a couple of years ago, and I was kind of sidetracked with the pandemic, but my guide said a few years ago that after 2024, 2025, we're going to see, they said, between the period between 2024 and 2027, that's the timeline they actually, those 3 years, we're going to be able to see the world we could be living in. We're going to get a taste of what life could be like. So those are this is the age that we're in, is the information age, which is all about information. We've created informational systems, networking systems that allow us to speak with anyone around the globe within seconds. We have managed to conserve our information as well through the third industrial revolution, which has helped as well, digitizing our information. But that has also helped retain memories now in a way that is not easily done away with, such as with books, and that can be burnt, or it's only located in one place. Now it's everywhere. Information is everywhere simultaneously. So we've accomplished a lot in a very short time. And as knowledge goes and wisdom goes, everything grows exponentially. So we'll continue to see an exponential growth over the next 20 years. So the rate of growth that we've been observing up until now, wait until in 20 years' time when not even Gen Z will be able to keep up. We'll all be going, oh my gosh, what just happened? So there are some exciting times ahead, but there are some little things to look out for. So let's have a look at the Pluto and Aquarius ages over time, and also what happened in Pluto and Capricorn times, so we can know what the flavor of these 2 months is going to be, roughly a month and a half that Pluto is in Capricorn. So in Pluto and Capricorn, when we look back through history and through time, we see that Pluto rules plutocrats really easy, right? Pluto rules over those who have power. Pluto rules over the power to create and build up, or rather create the ground, level the field so that the new power can then build up on that. And we see throughout history how Pluto consistently does its job, right? Consistently does its job in the way that we expect it to do. And poor little Pluto has been pushed out of our system and is now reclassified as a dwarf planet. And it's the only planet with a heart on it. It has this cute little patch of heart-shaped ice field and is lost and lonely out there. And however, Pluto and Capricorn, for example, we see let's say before the French Revolution, which is what a lot of people point towards when they're speaking about Pluto and Aquarius. They're like, oh my gosh, look what happened in France. And like I said, we're going to go through the timeline a little bit. But obviously Pluto and Capricorn came before. And there was the same kind of waffling going back and forth as it was the last couple of years, with Pluto going back into Capricorn, into Aquarius, back into Capricorn, into Aquarius, back into Capricorn, into Aquarius. And now, like I said, from about November 17th to 20th, I'm not quite sure, around that time, it's going to be back in Aquarius for good. So when we're looking at what happened pre-revolution in France and how the world was restructured through, first came the expansion of thought, right, with the Reformation, Pluto and Sagittarius, and the expansion, the new creation of new power structures, the creation of a new church, new churches. New religious directions, which also coincided with the need for physical expansion. And so we see these colonialist countries going out and discovering the world, and then trying to colonialize. Well, not trying, they actually did colonialize the territories that they found. And we see how this impacted the power structures within Europe, and how that were these structures were all looking to be changed around again. And that happened around Pluto and Capricorn. And that led into the Pluto and Aquarius explosion of newness, novelty, new times, new ideas. But of course, the crumbling that happens before is phenomenal. It's fireworks, it's lava, it's volcanic, it's Plutonian, it's intense, because Pluto gets to the root of it and rips it all out. Afterwards, nothing is the same as before. People can't even mentally go backwards. They can't even mentally go backwards to the way things were before. It is so completely, radically, completely, and utterly changed into something absolutely new, and the old is destroyed. Pluto's fearless in that. So of course, now over time, we've been able to log these cycles, and we're looking at it, and now we're thinking, moving forward, okay, what's expecting us over the next 20 years? So we're going to have a look at that. And of course, how it's going to impact you, you know? So that's it's so that's the kind of point here. So let's have a look at the ages now of Pluto in Aquarius, and then we'll have a closer, deeper look here into Pluto in Capricorn. So Pluto in Aquarius, and I have my notes. Pluto in Aquarius and the ages that went through. So let's go all the way back in time, and we'll start at around year 0, or rather 305 to 330. And during this time of Pluto in Aquarius, we see Constantine the Great, and he's ruling as the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. And for the entire stretch, for the entire time that Pluto is in Aquarius, he's in power. And that's another thing. Let me talk about power before we even dive deeper, because one thing I have a hard time expressing, to be honest, because I don't want to take away hope, and I don't want to take away positivity and all those things. But this planet, I've come to realize, is not about love. We want to make it about love, but the kind of love that we've created, this concept of love that we've created, is really based on two things. The romantic love out of the medieval ages, you know, which was basically for penniless men to be able to level up, because otherwise they would never be able to. We would never be able to marry up, level up, partner upwards. The way it had been before, a man had to have title, money, land in order to gain that kind of woman. But then again, that romantic love that was created in the Middle Ages was also for women to escape the doldrums that they were trapped in, certain class of women, obviously. And so fast forward to about the 1800s, and all these romantic writings and these romantic letters and love stories, and tragic, tragic love stories as well. And we see the same thing with men that weren't able to provide in a traditional way, offering something else. And we see it in our society to this day. And it's gotten to the point where people are so indoctrinated and so brainwashed by it because of all the songs and all the movies. And we've come to expect that in our world. We've come to expect that. We believe we have a right to it. And we don't see that this is the glorification of a specific stage of relationship, number one, that never lasts for anyone. And number two, there was an agenda behind it, which was actually detrimental to both parties involved. So one, the man was no longer required to level up. Actually, the woman was going to level down. And two, it took away the security and the stability and all of that that women needed to raise families and children and so on and so forth. But that's a whole other video, and I'll get into that in something, some other time. But that's when I started realizing, when I was looking into that this planet is about power. And the ones that are in power don't want us to know that the game is actually about power here. It's not about love. And love and power. It's interesting how love, the way we understand it, requires us to give up power and requires us to surrender our personal power in order to receive the kind of love that we're looking for, hoping for, maintain the kind of love that we're wanting. It requires us not to level up, requires so many things around lacking power, in a sense, the way that a few small number have power. And so there's a definite intention behind this indoctrination, this dogmatization, this conceptualization of love that we've been fed and force fed and nourished with, to the point that me saying this is probably triggering some of you, and some of you are clicking away because you're like thinking, that can't be true. That can't be true. And I know love, I've had love, and so on and so forth. But when we look deeper into these things, we can always label them differently than what we collectively just call love. So if this world is about power, which is it is, then these are the times where we're going to really see that in action. And we're really going to see how that plays itself out. So let's have a look at the power games. And it's not the Hunger Games, it's the power games. And so in 305, we've got Constantine the Great during this period, and he rules as Empire of the Holy Roman Empire. And during this reign, he spread Christianity forcibly throughout the Roman Empire, which was largely, all over the place at that time. And so he forced people to convert. And actually, out of this era, the baby baptisms arises, because the original Christian sects, because Christianity was a sect, there were actually over 300 different denominations of Christianity calling themselves Christian. And it's only due to personal preference of the men in power at the time. There were 3 emperors that wrote a 3-emperor edict, which ended up creating the Catholic religion. But that's another video again. But these men in power, this was their personal preference. For whatever reasons, and there were various reasons, it was their personal preference. It was their personal preference. And that's why they allowed this specific sect of Christianity to exist, but did away with all the other ones. Now, they were ruling over the Holy Roman Empire. And at that time, the Roman Empire encompassed many different tribes, countries, peoples, languages. It was this vast, sprawling, hungry beast that was always kind of revolutioning somewhere, right? There was always some kind of a fire to be put out. So the only way to rule over this, these men quickly figured out that the only way to rule over such a huge empire effectively was if everybody was looking in the same direction. And if they had different gods, they would have different principles. If they have different principles, then they have different points of focus, different values, different things of interest, which would sometimes run against the interest of the ruling party. So to conquer all that, right, to slay all these different things that could arise out of different people, differing everywhere, they decided that they needed one belief system on what this universe is, what we're here to do, and where we're headed in order to control that. So they were very clear, very much in the beginning, they needed to control the narrative of the universe and everything, what we're doing in it. So they force converted into Christianity, because that was Constantine the Great's chosen religion, probably through his wife, but he ended up forcing people to baptize their children as well. And that led to the child baptism that we see today, because back in the day, they would baptize themselves in their early 30s, same as Jesus was said to have been baptized at that age. So he frequently held councils and to discuss this new thought direction and to iron out the kinks, if you will. And but he also built a ton of churches. He held the historically notable Council of Nicaea, and he ordered the celebration of Easter. And so this all goes back to actually all the things that we, this major Easter holiday that we have in the church nowadays, that goes back to a government, a ruler determining that this is important for whatever reasons. And to this is what needs to be celebrated. So there's a kind of a thought, a control of the concepts, a control of the narrative, a control of what people think and how they think, that is happening here in this Pluto and Aquarius time under Constantine the Great. And Aquarius does rule thoughts. It rules air. Air is representative of the mental worlds, the mental mind. And it's a fixed sign. So there's dogmatism involved here. So we have, yeah, what do we have to look forward to over the next 20 years? Battles in dogmatism, people falling into extreme camps. Okay. So the next time that Pluto goes into Aquarius was between 795 and 819, roughly. And this is the Islamic golden age, or the golden age of Islam. And here Pluto kind of shows a more positive spin on things, because the Islamic world at this time was very open to knowledge and information. And so it was interesting to hear from all kinds of people coming from everywhere, and to welcome them in and to welcome in the knowledge that they brought. They made huge advancements in the sciences, such as astronomy, mathematics, philosophy, medicine, education, and we're able to share that with the world as well. Mathematics systems, such as the Arabic numerals many of us use today, emerged from this time. So the literal numbers that you write with came out of a Pluto in Aquarian time period, including the introduction of the number 0, algebra, and the word algorithm. So that's another thing that we can see, the seeds and how they sprout over time. They grow up through the darkness, or what they experience as darkness, times where they can't manifest themselves the way that they can today. And then they come into full bloom in the times that they can blossom in. So we see that seed being planted back then already. And we're going to see, and we hope, that this seed of humanity, if you will, the seed of consciousness that was created by humanity all those years ago, that it's rooted in, that it doesn't forget its roots, that it remembers differences, harmony, sharing, caring, many different ideas, many different directions pouring into one classic root, right? Okay, so moving onwards, the next period of Pluto in Aquarius is 1041 to 1063. And what stands out around this period is that a supernova is observed in the sky. And nowadays, we know that supernova that they saw back then is the Crab Nebula. And yeah, so apparently this event helped it kind of unified time for a lot of people, for a lot of cultures. It brought time together. So that's another interesting aspect around Pluto and Aquarius. It often deals with time in some which way, shape, or form. And time, the systems that were used to record time, that's what I'm trying to say, were somehow aligned, And at this time, there's a lot happening with the church again, and During this time is when the Roman Catholics split away from what is now known as the Eastern Orthodox Church. Before this time, everybody was Orthodox. The classic was Orthodoxy. And around this time, the Roman Catholicism split off and created the schism. And so the Eastern Orthodox doesn't acknowledge the Roman Catholic Church, so everything that came after the Roman Catholic Church is not acknowledged by the Eastern Orthodox either, because they can't move past the split or the schism of the Roman Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox split back then. So what I find interesting is because Eastern Orthodox priests are not supposed to pray or light candles or do anything of that nature with other denominations because they are heretics, right? But we saw at the crowning of King Charles how King Charles, somehow they came together for whatever reason, and they all worked together to create specific symbols for Charles's coronation, such as the Eastern Orthodox Church provided him with the oil that he was anointed with. They did pray together with the Roman Catholic Church as well. And the Anglican Church. Charles is the head of the Anglican Church. So it's yeah, here we are, right? Controlling the narrative. That's what they do. So in China, a lot is moving on here, moving forward here. Gunpowder is created, and that leads to all kinds of things, as we know. Then the next era that is huge for Pluto in Aquarius is 1532 to 1553. And this is where King Henry in England, he wanted to marry Anne Boleyn, and the church wouldn't let him because I think this was how many marriages did he have at that point? And so he decided to let himself be excommunicated and create his own church. And so he established the Church of England, which is the Anglican. He facilitated a Protestant reform, and his ideologies reigned. And so that is, yeah, again, we have this thought control flavor of Pluto and Aquarius. We're dabbling with religion, Pluto and Aquarius. We're creating new societal structures, Pluto and Aquarius. We're breaking down old ones, Pluto and Aquarius. And we're burning bridges and we're not looking back. And England, the UK has never looked back since that split. Since that split, it's done. The UK had its own church, and that was that. So moving onward, right? Moving onward. So during this period, Sikhism is also established by Guru Nanak in the Punjab. And it's interesting because a lot of people will wonder, why is religion so important here? Why is religion so important? And how is this going to play out in the next 20 years? Well, there is something interesting that I might show you here, or I might dive deeper on a Patreon video. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So the scientific revolution began in 1543. So 10 years before Pluto transits out of Aquarius then. And Copernicus published On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, and that formally pitched the heliocentric model in a cultishly geocentric era. So remember that back in the day, people used to think that the Earth was the center of the universe or the known, heavens. And so this was the time where that thought model went out the window and people started realizing that, oh no, it was the sun. Everything rotates around the sun in our solar system. So that was a tough birth because it went up against the church and the church's teachings. And Copernicus and Galileo Galilei kind of had to suffer for that. So there's that dogmatism, there's this harshness, there's this oppression that comes in with Aquarian energy as well. People like to think of Aquarius as being very world open, but they're actually, the energy of Aquarius, not the people, but the energy is slightly detached. There's this detachment where it can easily just step into a very cool space of the mind. And it's not emotionally attached. So it can make decisions and do things that almost seem a little bit much. So moving onward, and we've got Pluto in Aquarius, and this is what you will mostly hear about the last period that Pluto was in Aquarius. And this was the time of the revolutions, the French Revolution as well as the American Revolution. And so the American Revolution came out of the Pluto and Capricorn cycle, but it didn't wrap up until Pluto was in Aquarius. And the French Revolution, though, that was wild, 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 wild. And so this is when democracy, the modern concept of democracy was born, was during the French Revolution. And again, we have the idea, we have social structures, we have countries, groups of countries. Those were the times of Pluto through Aquarius. Remember, I was speaking before about the ages that we moved through. So the first industrial revolution, this is where human and animal labor was converted into machinery, like the steam engine, the puddling and rolling processes for making iron, coke smelting, spinning jenny, stuff like that. Then in the second industrial revolution, electricity was added to it, the internal combustion engine, indoor plumbing, chemical industries, technologies are developed. The third industrial revolution is what we're living in now. And that began in the 1950s. And that moved from the mechanical and analog electronic technology to digital electronics. So nano, bio, IT technologies, 3D printing, AI, robotics, that all came out of the third industrial revolution. Now we're moving into the fourth industrial revolution, and cyber physical systems is what the World Economic Forum calls this, is what's going to be coming up. This is new capabilities for people and machines. There all kinds of things are going to be happening over the next 20 years. Genome editing, new forms of machine intelligence, breakthrough materials, approaches to government that or governance that rely on cryptographic methods such as the blockchain. There's going to be a lot going on, and from the absolutely frightening to the absolutely wow, this is so beautiful and this is amazing that this is happening. But the next 20 years is definitely going to be a time of upheaval. So let's see here. Let's now dive in and see through the signs with the cards. And I'm only going to, actually, you know what? I won't be using the tarot cards. I won't be using the tarot cards because I feel like, and I've said this before, that maybe it's also time in the next 20 years to come up with a new tarot system, because our thoughts and our thought processes, our development processes, they have changed. They have changed. They have um developed a little bit more, and we're now in a different era, right? We're in a different era. And over the next 20 years, we're going to see further attacks on Christianity, which the cards are based in or on. And no doubt about that. Okay, so let's have a look. The overall energies, please. The overall energies of this Pluto in Capricorn, before we dive into fully the Pluto in Aquarius energy, what's going to happen. And what I find interesting, like I said before, is that Pluto rules over plutocrats. And all of a sudden, I saw the face of Trump. I saw the face of Trump. And just now, and I feel like this is the downfall of the system that is represented, the downfall of that way of going about things, seeing things, perceiving things, what he represents. This is coming to a close. And on an intuitive level, because Aquarius is also quirky, it's unexpected, and it's very the most unexpected thing can happen, right? So, but the old system and the old order of things is not what's going to happen, has never happened in Pluto and Aquarius. It's always been a completely new order with new faces, new power players, new game, someone showing up on the scene that didn't have power before, all of a sudden coming into power. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, Pluto and power. Yeah, this planet is about energy and power, and learning to harness those systems and learning to manage power and manage energy, manage your power over energy, and not to give your energy away, and realizing that, and how to use your energy efficiently. So that efficiently is sometimes, for some people, the way they see it, conquering, taking. But for others, it's breaking down, it's wiping away and opening the door to something else and something new. So let's see here. The Pluto in Capricorn retrograde. Oh, a Pluto in Capricorn is also what Gen Z and Generation Alpha are born with. So this time is really going to be a seed for what will show itself when these people are, yeah, 20 years from now. So if they're, yeah. So when they're in their middle ages, this is the seed that is going to show itself at that time. This is just definitely going to affect and call them to action prematurely. That's what I'm hearing. Even though it's not premature, it's all in divine timing, it's all well intended, but it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like this is a Gen Z, Gen Alpha fight that is coming up. I mean, it's a fight for all of us. Which system and which construct is going to pull us forward? But it's unfortunately for them, they really, even though it's not fair, but nothing in this planet is fair or has ever been, but it's on them to take action, to make the choices, to make their voices heard, to step up to the plate, to really show what it is that they want. But it's difficult because they're so young and tender. How can they know now what they're going to want or need in 20 years from now during this revolutionary cycle where nobody knows what the outcome is going to be or what it's going to look like? We just know it's going to happen. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Huh. That's why they came in with Pluto and Capricorn. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's why they came in. All of a sudden, I saw this changing of the guard, yeah, and I heard there is no time, and that our belief in time is stopping us from seeing the truth, that we all exist at the same time in time, and that children come in with all the knowledge already, and they're actually coming in with new ideas, like we know, right? They're coming in with the next wave, the next generation. We have to see it as a changing of the guard. We watch the development of the material realm until this point, and now this new wave is coming in, and they're bringing it forward. So they were born with Pluto and Capricorn, and this Pluto and Capricorn time is fundamental, the choices that you make during this time for what will affect the next 20 years of their lives. Definitely. But also the outcome of this revolutionary cycle hinges on the kids. Oh, okay. Okay. So what is this Pluto and Capricorn cycle, please, in September to October 17th, I believe? Okay, sure. And I'm working with animal spirits. Animal spirit. We've got the earthworm, we've got the bear, and the eagle. Okay. So this Pluto and Capricorn cycle, the first card that shows up is the earthworm. And the earthworm here in its cyclical pattern. We've also got the element of earth that is being shown here. Earth turned inside out. That's what an earthworm does, is it churns the earth. But it aerates the earth. Air, the elements of air. Earthworms bring air into the soil. And they upturn everything, and they prepare the soil. They prepare the soil for the new seeds to be planted, for new things to grow. So this is like a worming. Something's gotten into the system and it's not coming out. And what is the system? It's literally everything. This political cycle showing us that it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Now, I was speaking about that years ago, where I was saying it's going to get to the point where the candidates are going to be so absurd that it's going to lead people to realize that the system is done, it's crashed, and they're going to be calling for a new system. And that is happening, but it's the younger generation that's kind of doing that. The older ones are still looking to, but if we vote for the right candidate, we can fix the system, because the right candidate will know how to work the system, what to do with the system, make the system work for all of us. But the system is done. It's outgrown. We've outgrown it. It is done. It is game over. It's time for us to overhaul it. And actually, the people that see this, that recognize this, some of them, I do believe, have been trying to do a gentle transition, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So just like the monarchy was done in 1790s France, it was a system that no longer contained the reality of the masses. It had to come down, and it came down in a very human way of burning it all down, and then something new arose out of that. But the new that arose out of that was a reflection at first of the old system, until something completely new could take place. But at first they did do a little bit of a dance back into a kind of monarchy, as you guys know, with Napoleon and all of that came after, and his family being crowned as well, and receiving lands and status and titles. But yeah, so we're gonna see this dance back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the next 20 years, as the system is recharged. Something new is going to be born out of the collective unconscious. Yeah. Oh, ooh, yeah. Okay, so the second card that came up is bear. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. These are the two cards that came out. I didn't realize it until I held up bear, and immediately the symbol started speaking, because of course there's that bear of Russia. Then we have the eagle, and that's the symbol of the United States, right? So we've got the bear and we've got the eagle, and are they going to, and they're here representing opposites. The eagle is representing the air element, and the bear is representing fire element. And so, earth element, sorry. So we've got here two opposites. They couldn't be more opposite. One is the power on land and walks the land. The other is the power in the air and has a vision. One controls the emotions, right? Or that which is very practical, grounded, in touch with the land. The feet land on the land. The other is in touch with the ideas and concepts in the sky. Um, one is almost how it goes about things. It's very feminine in a strong, older, feminine way. The other one is definitely sky god, right? So we have these energies that are going to play a role in the next 20 years. These two camps that are really going to distinctly define themselves and redefine structures around them. Okay, what else is coming up with this Pluto in Capricorn, please? So we can expect to see somebody either poking the bear or the bear trying to bring something out of the sky. Pluto in Capricorn, what can we expect to see, please? Yeah. America's going to probably be a little bit more of an aggressive place. The card that landed on top of the eagle was the scorpion. And the scorpion is definitely not to be messed with. We see here fire energy. And there's targeted targeted stings. And it makes me think of the movie The Scorpion King, you know, the rightful king, the rightful heir to the throne, and that kind of narrative. And America does have that, take that position on the world stage that it has this right to rule because it's an amalgamation of all countries, that it's the one to stand out and to light the way forward. But the bear, its card that's coming up is raccoon. It's a whoo, not to be trifled with, and very vindictive, right? Raccoons are known to be kind of vindictive, backstabby kind of energy, but also very loyal. Both the raccoon and the bear are very known to be very loyal to their own family creatures, loyal to their offspring, loyal to their own. But there's something moving in silence in the shadows. Okay. And there's some kind of Schadenfreude, you know, like this feeling good about things happening to Eagle. Here we have finding the new song, the nightingale, finding a new song, finding a new frequency, finding a new vibration. This is what this Pluto in Capricorn is going to ask us to do. So if it's about finding a new vibration and a new frequency, it's going to ask us to deal with things in a different way, to make real changes in a tangible, hand grippy kind of way, a touchable way, make real changes. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card from Aries through to Pisces. And first card that comes up for you, Aries, is, oh, wow, we've got the earthworm again. The earthworm and things churning and changing up for you. The second card is the nightingale again. This is incredible. And having, finding your song, finding your right voice, finding the right voice for you. There's an energy I feel that you have to be mindful of, Aries. There's some kind of a feeling that there's some kind of an energy around you. This may be your close circle of friends. This may be your acquaintanceships, but it's almost like you got to watch your back. You trying to find your own song, you trying to find the truth of your being is triggering someone in your vicinity, is triggering people that are around you. See here. What else is there to know? Yeah. So it feels as if you're still not ready. Like Capricorn is still going to, this Pluto in Capricorn, you're going to feel like you're ready to explode. Like you're holding on to something and you're wanting to release it, but you know that the time isn't right yet. And even when you open up to go, yeah, I just want to get rid of it. I'm ready to pop. I'm ready to release this. It's not working. And so Pluto and Capricorn can make you feel very frustrated because whatever it is that you're trying to do, there seems to be some kind of a block in it, but you're going to have to be patient because once Pluto shifts into Aquarius, it's really going to blow. Okay, so this is a time where especially when it comes to your career, when it comes to your work, when it comes to how you want to express yourself, when it comes to all those things, like all these these plans and projects that you've had that have been racking up, these ideas that you've had around your what you want to do with yourself, you know, when you grow up. It's now you're going to be breaking fully into that terrain. And it might be feeling unusual at first because there is literally nothing to stop Martian Aryan energy now in that area. And so if you're an ambitious person, it can be that your ambitions are going to run wild. But during this period, it's giving you actually pause. It's allowing you to reflect. It's allowing you to think things through and to make your plans and to set up the new structure that you're going to fall into when the old one comes crashing down. So once again, like I like to remind people, when the wrecking ball of the universe, Pluto, is moving through, there's no point in standing up and saying no and resisting what is. The more you resist, the more will be taken from you. And it has to be taken from you because you're going to feel like that because it's going to go down anyways. So the thing to do in this case is to really offer it up as a sacrifice. It's time you know that something is not working, you know that you're in the wrong place or playing the wrong role or positioned yourself in the wrong way, then you need to, you know, give that up willingly. Your longer term goal is, for example, health, but you're eating gummy bears every night before bed. So maybe giving that up and saying, you know, Pluto, because you can talk to the planets, Pluto, this is my gummy bear habit, and I want you to break it for me and do it in a way that is nice, Pluto, because Pluto can be nice, you know. Help me break this habit that is not helping me, that is not conducive, then guess what? You know, that's going to happen for you. I know this sounds corny and cliche, but it really is that way. When the universe is coming through and the garbage collectors are coming through your neighborhood, you don't hold on to your garbage. You don't like spit at the garbage collector and say, you bad garbage collector, what are you doing trying to come here through and pick up my garbage? You throw your garbage onto the truck and you actually run after the truck because you're like, hey, hold on, I forgot. I just got up. And you throw your garbage on there. So when Pluto is rolling through and it's wrecking everything, whatever you need to have broken down and smashed, you put it on there, Aries. And it will break through walls for you. It will break through everything for you. This is going to be a topsy-turvy time where people that were disempowered are going to come into power. You could be one of them. It's going to be a topsy-turvy time where people that were in power might be beheaded. There's no time that Pluto and Aquarius has rolled through history and humanity that there wasn't some kind of bloodshed in the restructuring of our systems and our societies. So it's definitely, if you're ambitious, this is absolutely your time. Is it going to be pretty? No. But it's absolutely your time. Okay, let's move on to Taurus. Taurus, how is this Pluto in Capricorn going to roll for you? We've got the beaver. Oh, eager beaver, Taurus. We've got the beaver show up for you. And the beaver is kind of like, ooh, I'm feeling like this beaver has to find a new home. Beaver is out there and it has to find a new home. And it feels like whatever systems you're in right now, Taurus, you're not feeling at home there. And the problem is, though, that you don't want to go out anymore to chop down wood and build a new home for yourself, right? And this goes for ideas as well. It goes for ideas, it goes for concepts, it goes for your belief systems. That's what I'm hearing. It's you're not feeling at home in any belief system that is out there right now. So you're not Christian, but you believe in some kind of form of shape or Christianity. You're not Muslim, but you believe in something kind of along those lines. You're not an atheist, you're not scientism follower, that kind of thing, but it's all these beliefs and concepts and ideas. You can't really connect to it anymore, and you're way more introspective now about what kind of trees you use to build your dam, where you build your dam, what kind of, who's going to live in with you in that dam. So, but at the same time, even though those old beliefs don't fit you anymore, like old shoes that don't fit, you still wear them, even though they give you blisters. And you're hesitant to leave that way because it's just comfortable. So it feels like this Pluto in Capricorn is going to force this little beaver out to find its own way again. And it's, if that's not the river that you're going to build your new ideas by, or that's not the land that you're going to build on, it's and there's something about a flood. I'm hearing, I don't know if some of you are living like in flood areas or there's going to be a lot of water happening around you, but there's something around water, being mindful about water in the basement, flood waters. And beavers can flood areas. Like they here where I live, like they're a bane to some farmers because they'll flood some of the fields sometimes. But yeah, but you can't really do anything because they're under natural, protection, right? So it's but there's something about you. I see this little beaver looking around and it has all this capability and all this possibility, but it's not quite sure which way it's going to go yet. And beaver has a lot of capabilities that can be put to use, that others can put to use for themselves. So beaver's kind of trying to figure out whom can I serve best and how will that serve me? It's not how can I serve myself? That's not what beaver is doing. It's looking at, I know my value. I know what I bring to the table. I know how I work. I know what I can do. I know what I offer. I know that I can reroute this river for you. But why would I do that again? Remind me. And how is this benefiting the entire area and the other people involved and the other beings involved around this? Is this something that I'd want to do? Are you somebody I'd want to work for? So there's that leveling up of Beaver, which is really interesting how Beaver is going about this, or you, Taurus, because you're inspiring the others to level up around you, including through your belief system change, including the people that you technically in the old paradigm serve. Usually in the old paradigm, it would be top to bottom, right? They would demand that you level up it because you are how you are. It's your entire energy is requiring them to level up to even deal with you. You've found your value and you're feeling it emotionally. You're finally tapping into that. But at the same time, it does feel kind of lonely for you because you're like, okay, so where do I go? Where do I belong? So this is a transitionary period for you, this Pluto and Capricorn energy, Beaver, Taurus. And you will get through, and eventually you will find your tribe, you will find your river, you will build your dam, you will find the perfect trees, and you will be content. But right now, there's this emotional wandering that's going on. And as you maintain your value, the people that you come in touch with are going to level up having to deal with you. And when you get through this, which will be at the end of this year, you'll be able to lead a much more purposeful life. Okay. It could be that you're also feeling the need to, if you're studying or if you're doing any kind of studies, you might switch up, you might break it off and switch to something new, or you may even start studying for some of you, right? But there's something unexpected that occurs here. Okay, let's move on to Gemini. Gemini, what's coming up for you, please? Gemini. There's a lot of like Pluto and Gemini. That's ooh. All of a sudden I felt like this ball in the back of my head go dong 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 in an empty room. Sorry. There's a bell ringing here. Where's that? Where's that bell? Oh my God. It feels like church bells. A church bell, a big church bell. Oh, okay. It's the skeletons in the closet, Gemini. Yeah. So your card, Gemini, that's coming up is Tiger. And the tiger, every time I see this card, ooh, Gemini, every time I see this card, it reminds me of William Blake and the tiger. So let me just read that to you. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? In what distant deeps or skies burnt the fire of thine eyes? On what wings dare he aspire? What the hand dare seize the fire? And what shoulder and what art could twist the sinews of thy heart? And when thy heart began to beat, what dread hand and what dread feet? What the hammer, what the chain, and what the furnace was thy brain? What the anvil, what dread grasp dare its deadly terrors clasp? When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Did he who made the lamb make thee? Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night, what immortal hand or eye dare frame their fearful symmetry? Oh, every time I see this card, I have to think of that poem. And the key line for you, dear Gemini, is, did he who made the lamb make thee? Because with this, the feeling that I'm getting of this Pluto and Capricorn moving into Pluto and Aquarius and how that plays out for you, or this energy field of Gemini, is this is going to go deep. There's that bell, a warning bell, ding, 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 like I hear ships, fog, night, um, and this warning bell. But it's also the tinkling of the bell going underground into the mine shafts. And every time, the bell would, they tingle the bell that they were either going down or coming up, or the airflow would tinkle a bell. But there's this bell that's ringing, that's tinkling, and it's a warning. And it's not a warning in a negative sense. It's an alert. Yeah. This is going deep to find your true strength. This is breaking down whatever veils you've built. And as I'm looking at this tiger, my gosh, the eyes, the eyes, the eyes. So it's wow, this is going to go deep for you. Uh-huh. Pluto and Capricorn into Aquarius for you, Gemini. Gemini likes to, and Gemini is not as shallow as people always make the sign out to be. It's not that. But this time you're going to go deep. You're going to really, whatever boundary or veil was in between, whatever you're thinking in your day-to-day consciousness and your subconsciousness, it's going to be broken down. You are going to clearly see who and what you are and what you're about, Gemini. And some of you, this is scary stuff. This is scary stuff. And but this concept, self-concept, I feel is being broken down. So whatever idea you had of yourself, it's gone. And what's coming up and what's coming through is this tiger with a bright burning eyes, this life force energy of yours that you don't know what to do with, where to put, how to express. It's just raw and unmanifest. Ooh. Did he who made the lamb make thee? You may have had like these concepts around who you needed to be fitting, to be perfect, to be, whatever. And all of that is crumbling. And you're realizing, look at these aspects of myself that I'm not allowing to live, or I'm not allowing to come up and out. And it feels as if you're finally realizing that that too is holy, that this aspect too, that these corners of yourself that you've pushed away, that that too is holy. So there's a deep soul retrieval, there's a deep soul reconnection, there's a deep vulnerabilities that are coming up and out that you're going to be healing, releasing, and finally doing what you need to do with them. So this is facing your deepest, truest, most authentic self, and however that shows up for you. So there are going to be some intense situations because they have to be intense in order to bring that up and out of you. Okay. Okay, Gemini, that's what I'm feeling. All righty, let's move on to Cancer. And what's coming up for Cancer, please? Cancer. How is this going to affect Cancers, please? How is this going to affect Cancers? Oi, the webs we weave. Charlotte's Web. Where are all these kid stories coming into my head? Charlotte's Web. I don't know if you read that book, but Charlotte's Web is such a typical Cancerian story. It's got all the hallmarks: nostalgia, drama, connections, beauty, heart, caring, nurturing, taking care of everybody, including the ones that are not your mom. And so we see Charlotte here in her web. And remember that in the story, and you can look it up. Charlotte saves the life of a pig named Wilbur by weaving words into her web about, to keep the interest on Wilbur and to save his life. Otherwise, he was going to be slaughtered. And here we have the webs that we weave. It's almost like a juggling act, trying to keep it all together. All 8 legs are working like crazy. Spider is calculating and recalculating the web and where to put what. Um, because it's not only thinking of itself, it's also thinking of everybody else that might benefit from this web or benefit from these connections. But also the more calculating Cancers are probably think how to utilize their web to benefit and their own lives. So there's something coming up around relationships to others, how you take care of other people. It Unfortunately, let's be honest, right? Pluto and Capricorn is an ending of the cycle's energy. It is. And some of you will have come to the end of your cycle in Pluto and Capricorn. Moving into Pluto and Aquarius, you're starting a whole new cycle. You may meet someone new, you may start someone new. If things aren't going well for you, this is definitely probably going to be the death knell. If things are going great for you, you guys might start a new chapter, as in purchasing a house together or, moving away together. There's some kind of a break that is happening in the Pluto and Capricorn retrograde. A reflection, nostalgia, possibly trying to reconnect to the past. So moving back home, moving back to where you came from, that kind of thing. But then from there, catapulting forward in through Aquarius, into a whole new living, a whole new back home. But for those of you where things are already kind of on the rocks or not, it's definitely Pluto and Capricorn is going to knock this out of your life. So there's this preparation that I'm also seeing the spider do, preparing for the winter, preparing for what is to come, preparing for what's next. And it feels as if fortifying the web as well. What else? We've got the elephant carrying the flame. There's someone or something that is very nostalgic, unwilling to let go. We've got the fire element here. Somebody's still carrying a torch for you, or you carry a torch for them. But there's this unwillingness to let go. There's this unwillingness to release. But it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I'm so sorry, Capricorn. But the Cancer. I'm sorry, Cancer. But there's definitely Because this Pluto in Capricorn, if you're Cancer, right? And this goes for sun, moon, or rising, then Capricorn is in your house of relationships. And the seventh house is also your shadow house because you often see reflected in other people the shadow side that you're not allowing yourself to live, right? So that Pluto rolling through is really making it clear to you that your Cancerian traits, your Capricornian traits, I'm confusing the two all the time, your Capricornian traits. So how you utilize them, how you come across in relationships, maybe it's time for you to possibly self-reflect or have a look at how you um deal with things, you know. Where are you cold? Where are you hard? Where are you Capricornian energy? Where are you unforgiving? Okay. Where do you keep holding a torch? Where do you manipulate? These are all things because if you did any of this, it's not going to pay off. It is literally coming back around. Um, but otherwise, it really feels like this is a period which can enlighten your relationships, which can help heal trauma around relationships as well that are blocking you from moving forward into a true deep connection with others or with somebody. Okay. So this is a great time for you to learn to set boundaries. Yeah, draw boundaries. Don't let anybody in that is harmful to you. But on the other side as well, yeah, cutting or repelling, cutting off or repelling. Yeah. Okay, moving onwards to Leo. Leo and what's coming up for Leo. So for you, Leo, we've got the swan. Well, the swan is an interesting creature. There's so many stories around swans. The ugly duckling story, of course, comes up. That's probably one of the most classic ones. Then there's Swan Lake, the ballet. Then there's so many stories around swans. And here we see the swan reflected, though. Okay. The swan reflected. And we also see the water element, and it's the dark water element because you've got the light water element here with the starfish. So this Pluto in Capricorn, whatever you have going on, you know, this ego, because the swan can represent ego, you know, this beautiful shining image that we have of ourselves and how we present ourselves. It's crumbling, and the truth of your vulnerability and reactivity is revealing itself, showing itself. There are also some health issues that I want to say here because I'm feeling a delicateness and a taking care of yourself and a taking care of your health, taking care of um, what contributes to your health that is coming in here. Yeah, but it really feels as if there's some kind of a healing that's occurring here, taking the time to heal, taking the time to withdraw, retreat, possibly. Feeling like you need to retreat, feeling vulnerable, feeling moody, not quite sure what's going on or why. Focusing in on health issues. How's your body reacting? Possibly overcoming frustration with your physical reactions to specific things because you're like not in control of that, or you feel not in control of that. It's not true that you're not in control of that. But mostly I'm feeling just the breaking of this facade of your outer self, your outer persona, and the true vulnerable, flubby, soft being on the inside being revealed. Remember that the starfish doesn't have a brain. It's just a network of nerves that just react. to stimuli. And so you're getting to look at your reactions and how they influence your health during this Pluto and Capricorn retrograde. And moving into Pluto and Aquarius, it's interesting dynamic for you for sure. Because once you heal that true core center of yourself, you're free to enjoy again. So there's some kind of fixing your nerves. That's what I'm hearing. Some of you may have nerve issues, burnt out, not being able to be how should I put this? Not being able to take anymore or take anything on anymore. And this inability to handle anything anymore, this burnt out feeling, this is what's going to be healed and targeted. So, yeah, things might come to a head where maybe you're being accused of being selfish, you're accused of only seeing or thinking of yourself, you're accused of all kinds of things, and you may react. And the warning is here not to react, but to continue to stay in a state of grace, because the swan also represents grace. So to stay in that grace, to move forward with grace. Okay. Yeah. That is the time. Watch your reactions, watch your responses, watch how you engage with situations and with other people, and don't allow yourself to be drawn outside of your middle. The swan is perfectly balanced, right? It's not leaning over too much. It's perfectly balanced here. But this is definitely trusting the light side of yourself to instinctively and intuitively integrate the more conscious, the more aware, darker side of yourself. Okay. That's what's coming up here for you in Pluto and Capricorn retrograde. I hope that made sense. If it's for you, it will have. But you're going to be shaking up your habits, especially the ones that connect in with your health. Okay. All right, Virgo. Let's see what's coming up with Virgo here. And why am I feeling a little bit lighter? I think you're the only one where Pluto retrograde is really going to distinctly cause something better to come through. Virgo, what's coming up for Virgo, please? Pluto in Capricorn retrograde and what you can expect. Yeah, we've got the elk and the nightingale. Now, the elk has to do with leadership in this, it has a lot to do with leadership, ancestral healing, carrying a burden like these horns are heavy, right? And heavy is the head that wears the crown, but also wisdom. These are all things that we connect with the symbol of the elk. And here we have singing out loud. So it feels like there's some kind of ancestral burden that you'll finally have cleared up, Virgo. And this will allow you to sing out loud. There's something that was coming down through your lineage, through the ancestors, and it's now allowing you to sing out loud. That you've released it, that you've integrated it, that you've done whatever you needed to do with it. And it feels as if this was so deeply entrenched in you, so deeply ingrained in you. And it may have come from the masculine side of the family, because the masculine usually, but it let you feel heavy and overly controlled. Okay, so see, we've got this tiny little bird who's like willing to sing, and you've got the elk here. So it's some kind of energy that was controlling you, Virgo, that came down through the family line, and you're finally breaking free of it. And it may be that you're saying to yourself, it's okay if I'm not strong. It's okay if I'm not accomplished. It's okay if I don't achieve anything or everything that my family expected of me. It's okay if I'm just this simple little brown, little dodgy kind of invisible thing, this bird, right? It's okay if I'm just me, and I'm just going to be me. I don't need to live up to this expectation anymore. I don't need to carry on this lineage of thought. I don't need to, as we see these horns branching off his head, right? I don't need to do that anymore. So there's this breaking with tradition, this breaking with, but not in a explosive way, but an explosion may cause you to do it, but you're not going to do it in an explosive way. It's just going to be like, this is what it is, and I'm done. I'm done trying to fix myself, save myself, pretzel myself, turn myself into something else so that I can be worthy of service, so that whoever I am is serving this concept, this idea that we've had in the family. You're done with that, and you're just going to be your little self and singing your song, and that's just going to be good enough. Finally stepping into this arena of feeling good enough, no matter how much you show up, Virgo. That seems to be it. And also accepting yourself, even if you feel like you're bland. Like Virgos, a lot of Virgos that I deal with, they tend to feel like they're bland in some way, shape, or form. They don't feel like they have the right to shine. And yet there's so much in them that shines. And they have so much to offer. They have so much to give. And it also feels as if they have difficulties just enjoying being themselves, enjoying their lives, enjoying being who they are, and just doing things for the sheer joy of it without overthinking it, doing things because they make sense or because this is what is needed. No, this is all going out the door. Like all this overthinking, that's what the elk is. Overthinking things is going out the door with Pluto and Capricorn. You will be required to, it won't work if you show up like this, with your persona intact and the old stories and the old ways. It's not going to work, whatever you're trying to do. You're going to have to throw it all off and be your naked self for it to work. You're going to have to get authentic. And so all of this is going out the window, and Pluto is not to be fooled. So you can't give him something, oh, look, I was pretending to be like this, actually. So take that out. No, Pluto is going to knock you where it hurts. And whatever you've really deeply attached to in order to gain validation, recognition, you name it, acceptance, love, all those coping mechanisms, they're going out the window. If you took on stuff because you wanted to carry someone else's load in your family, going out the window. So you're left this naked little bird. Remember, look up pictures of nightingales. They don't look like much, and yet their voices are beyond. So that's what's coming for you, is that you'll be able to enjoy just being yourself for once, that you'll be able to enjoy the gift that you did bring into this world, that you'll be able to say, you know what, maybe my gift is plucking my eyebrows. And you'll be doing that and just be completely happy with that. Completely. And it's not a giving up, it's an accepting. It's actually a receiving. It's a standing in your truth and in your power, for real, and recognizing your true place in this world and owning it. So there's something here about purpose that is being made clear to you, that you're being allowed to see, because all the other nonsense is going to be removed from you. And but one of the things is that you're going to be accepting of the truth about yourself too, and where you've been absolutely inauthentic. Okay. So, alrighty, moving on to Libra and this Pluto retrograde that is coming up for you. What am I feeling? All of a sudden, I saw this Grand Canyon rift. Um, there's a Grand Canyon rift here. You're shutting the doors to something, Libra, with this Pluto and Capricorn. And there's a huge, it's almost, you have to be careful with this inner coldness that sets in when you start accepting things in your life, accepting truth. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was feeling, this inner coldness. And the card that shows up for you is this dragon. Things are going to move. This is going to move really fast. And it's here we have the cheetah, right? Doing a sprint. The cheetah is the fastest land animal, but it can only hold its sprint for a couple minutes, not longer. And this time is going to move super fast for you. There are going to be some mega changes, some real hardcore changes. But I'm also seeing dragon energy here. It's like you're finally stepping into your own and allowing that dragon energy to rise. But it's this cold, hard anger. Wow, there's some deep issues that haven't been cleared that come from a long time ago, from way back when. Some deep issues from way back when that haven't been cleared. There's a deep hurt and a deep distrust here. If you look at this eye, there's such a hurt and a distrust. Looking out at the world from behind a deep kind of a deep protective layer and barrier. Yeah, there's this rift, and I'm seeing you, Libra, that with this Pluto and Capricorn energy, you if things don't happen, no, no, no. You're going to go through a time where you harden up. Okay. It's almost inevitable. And things are going to move so fast for you, and your decisions are going to become really clear and sharp and fast and easy. And you're going to realize who the priority is in your life. And it's not even you, it's your inner child, it's your inner self. It's that spark of life that was given to you by God that you are now going to protect with your life and limb. So God help you. This is intense. Something happened or is about to happen that is creating a rift between you and something that is now in your past. And you're moving on, but it's feeling very clean. You've done a clean cut. You've done a clean severing. It's feeling very, very clean, but it's feeling powerful. It's like I'm finally going to experience what it feels like to be empowered. I want to feel my own power. I want to have power over others the way they had over me. So but also finding, honoring and defending your values. Oh, that's another thing. Honoring and defending your values, redefining your values. Pluto and Capricorn is all about redefining your values, Libra. All about redefining your values. We have the dragon. And remember, the dragon hoards the gold. And remember, the gold represents what you value. So whatever it is, you're going to stand up for yourself. Something triggered you, something hurt you, something deep within you where you're like, I'm never going to let this happen again. And I'm now going to finally be who apparently I'm supposed to become. But there's a defiance with that because you actually want it to be soft. You want it to be easy. You want it to be, but you're like, you know what? Fine. The thing is, though, the good thing about this is that you learn to accept your own power, Libra. You learn to deal with your power, ration your power, where to implement your power. You learn that you have power. You're not seeing it right now, that this is what this is about. You're believing this is about love and you just can't love anymore and you can't give anymore. And you've given so much, but it was never about love. It was about power. It was about your power over your life. So I feel that you're going to come out of this time with very strong, loyal bonds to specific people, but otherwise you're closed off. Okay, you're closed off for the next while. Yeah, your avoidant tendencies might come out. If you were an anxious attachment style earlier, then you're going to have to look at your avoidant attachment styles as well. And but this is about power. Whatever situation you're in right now, Libra, it's teaching you about power. Okay, so let's move on with Pluto retrograde for Scorpio. There's something around what's around you, Scorp. Oh, stingray and fish. Wow, okay. Yeah, the waters that you swim in, right? And schools of fish. So we got stingray and you got fish as well, which is interesting because the two clearly go together. Um, both of them, stingrays and fish, have families. We call the families of fish, school of fish. But stingrays have pods. What do you call those when they swim together? And stingrays, they can be interesting. They're definitely if you've ever swum with a manta rays, and every time I see this card, I think more of a manta ray than I do of a stingray, even though it says stingray at the bottom there. But they're very conscious beings, right? And they clearly navigate the waters that they're in. It's clear when you're swimming with the manta rays, when you're in the water with them, that there's a thought process happening there. There's some kind of and it feels initially weird because they're such different beings. And they look at you, they see you, they recognize you in the water, they come up to you, they bump into you sometimes, but most times they just shy of you. They're clearly unafraid. Um, there's something about finding your tribe, being willing to connect to others and ride with others, swim with others. And here we have the dark light triangle again, just like in the previous sign. So you're dealing with it with the two aspects of yourself. But it's all about how you deal with the emotions and the emotions of others. You may feel like a fish out of water in this Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn cycle. You may feel like, oh, I don't belong here. I'm in the wrong place. You may feel communication is difficult between yourself and others and yearn for the right waters, the right temperature, the right people. Sorry. You may there's something around abundance as well, and networking, an abundance of networking, an abundance of something's going to shift around how you communicate. Okay. I don't know if you've been thinking about this for a while, but it feels as if how you communicate has suddenly become important to you. And you want to become more soft, more connected. There's this desire to really show people or connect with people, communicate with people in an authentic and deeply connected way, deeply vulnerable way. There's this desire to um, be yourself and let others be themselves. You're not in the mood for judgment or judgmental conversations or gossipy things or anything like that. You're not in the mood for it. You've decided to elevate your connections and your communication. but you're also looking to move. Like you're going to be looking to move during this time, to move to an area that is more better for you, where you feel more connected. But this is deep because, you've got the two fish here that swim in the waters. So there's some really staying out of harm's way that comes up too. But what I'm really feeling is your desire to communicate on a different level. You may also experiment with intuition, with psychic stuff, with clairvoyance during this time, with thought transference. You may be interested in developing your psychic abilities. Also spiritual, connecting to the spirit world, which may come up for you during this time. Yeah, you want to expand your realm of communication, your ability to communicate into the spiritual realm. Okay, that's what I'm feeling for you. So this may be a significant time of downloads, of just receiving information, picking up on information through others as well. Sagittarius, what's coming up for you? Sag. Ay, ay, ay. All right. So this is beautiful energy. It's very fiery energy. So fire has to do with your willpower. Where do you invest your willpower? And where you invest your willpower is determined on what you value, what your principles are, what you're motivated by. And two things that are going to come up are grace and beauty and purpose. And I see purpose with the fire ants, purpose because that ties in with how does it benefit the community. But of course, the gazelle has grace and beauty. So these two principles, and they're both the same energy or quality of fire, right? The light side of fire are going to be, you're going to be balancing between the two with your actions. So Pluto and Capricorn is rolling through, and it's destroying, of course, everything that you built up before with others. It's almost as if you're moving. You can utilize this time, Sagittarius, to shift from a scarcity, competitive mindset with the ants and this ant society with everybody struggling for little tiny itty bits and struggling for validation. You're going to move from valuing that and seeing that as being the reality to something where everything flows with ease and grace. Okay. So if you have a scarcity mindset or you don't value the right things, Pluto and Capricorn is going to destroy that for you. And it's meant to allow you to see that you can move forward with ease and grace. You don't have to be this hardworking ant fighting over scraps, believing in a scarcity consciousness or scarcity mindset. You don't have to do that. Okay. So I'd say for you, Sag, that really work on your mindset, work on releasing old ideas and concepts from the past, work on allowing the new in. And again, maybe doing things differently from everybody around you, because it feels like with the ants, you keep looking to everybody around you. What are they doing? Okay, I'm going to do the same too because it worked for them. But you're going to have to go your own way. Okay. And so it's learning, again, power and energy, how to find your own energy source, how to find your own inner energy and utilize that. Whereas with the ants, it's almost getting energy from others as well. So this is you learning how to empower yourself, literally. Okay. All right, moving onwards to Capricorn. Power, control, worthiness. These are all themes that come up on the table for you. Pluto and Capricorn, for Capricorn, please. Wow. Okay. So you have the nightingale as well, and you've got the wisdom of the cobra. This could also be a Kundalini awakening, a spiritual awakening, the awakening of the wise teacher within you, and being able to lead others, but also wisely choosing your next steps forward. Okay. And here we have Nightingale. And Nightingale is singing your truth, being true to yourself, articulating your truth, speaking your mind and your heart and getting it out there. Again, this is an interesting one because it's there's something mysterious that's happening with you on the deeper levels with Pluto and Capricorn. So you may be opening yourself up to mystical experiences, mysterious happenings. There's this wisdom that you're going to be emanating and stepping into as a result of this Pluto, because it destroys everything around you, and you learn so hard and so fast that it just, yeah. But we've got with the Nightingale, you singing your song, you singing your song. Okay. It really feels as if you are holding yourself back from stepping into leadership, from stepping into being a leader, being a guide, being a way shower. And you're holding yourself back from that because there's this lack of faith and belief in yourself, Capricorn. You feel like you have to work harder, you still have so much to learn, or you're too humble, or you feel you're not flashy enough or visible enough, or what have you. But it's not true. It's not true. And it also feels like this Pluto and Capricorn is going to show you all the ways you are depending on things that don't belong to you, that are not yours, right? And not yours in a bad sense. Oh, this is not yours and you're not allowed to have it. No, no. But they weren't good for you, this direction that you were moving in, or ideal for you. They weren't. So you may have been going along with the thought processes and thought ideas of other people, of other ideas, of other concepts, but they don't really allow you to bloom or blossom. And so now you're finally stepping into, you know what, this feels right for me. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to trust me. I'm just going to trust myself and see where it takes me and where it leads me. There's this feeling that whatever self-concept or identity you had, you're going to feel stifled and suffocated in it. And you're going to strip it off like a snake sheds its skin. You're just going to release it and step into a new era. This is your leveling up era. This is your main character ever era. This is you stepping into the next level. This is a whole new chapter of your life, Capricorn. This is for, this gives me the energy of the vibe of closing off with things like having graduated something, having accomplished something, and then stepping into something, a different chapter completely, starting a new life. I want to say that it also, this is a time where you could be going through massive changes with your external experience. So you could be changing your hair color, the way you dress, the way you comport yourself. You could be going through minor operations, especially if you feel like, oh no, there's so much I have to do. You could be yeah, there's just so much. But there's some kind of changes that are going to happen to your outer appearance. And but especially the changes come around how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you present yourself, how you connect with others. That's what I'm feeling. And you closing a cycle, but not shutting the door on it, but the cycle is now complete. It's kind of like graduating school. You didn't shut the door on school, it's just done. And you don't feel like you need to go back. So that's, yeah, that's what's happening. Okay. And now on to Aquarius. What's coming up for Aquarius, please? What's coming up for Aquarius for this Pluto retrograde? Okay, Pluto retrograde, you've got the dragonfly and the whale. Wow. Wow. Okay, Aquarius. Oof. So this is a deep current that has been flowing for some time, some deep emotional currents, but as well as mind currents. So even though your mind is like the dragonfly, very quick, very fast, darts from here to there, your emotional current takes a while to shift and change. And so it takes, it's like stopping the Titanic. It just takes a moment to stop this huge being, this whale, and turn it the other way. And your emotional life has a life of its own. And even though it's slow moving and you think because it's slow moving, you control it, it does have a life as of its own. Um, I feel there's a protection over you as well with the whale and the dragonfly. These are both very protective animal spirits. Um, there's a change in the storyline that you tell about yourself. Now, the whale also has to do with depths, ocean depths, right? So I'm taking this as the subconscious, going into the subconscious and reflecting on what's down there. And that changes your surface level, the dragonfly thoughts. That changes. So if you want to make any changes to your life, you're going to have to go into your subconscious during this transit. You're going to have to go in there and rearrange in order for the currents to change, in order for a new effect to take place in your mental space. So new ideas, new perspectives, new thoughts all come about as a result of this deep inner work. But yeah, it's time to, you can't run away from your inner work anymore. You can't shift it, change it. Huh. So it can be also because the whale is such a spiritual and the dragonfly is such a spiritual energy. There's this changing of your spiritual connections, changing of your spiritual ideas or how you see things. This change in spiritual, yeah, stories deep in your subconscious. So you may have been having questions around your spirituality for quite some time. But yeah, there's some changes here that are in your subconscious, in your spirit world, how you see spirit, how you perceive or connect with spirit, the songs of the soul that are sung. And that is affecting your thoughts, your ideas, your concepts, your day-to-day life consciousness. Okay. So let's see what else is coming up. But that's pretty much it for Aquarius. That's a lot. That's a lot. And but I'd say it's this energy of Pluto and Capricorn is really targeting because it's so important for you to get it right for some reason I'm hearing, but it's targeting your deeper ideas around life because the whale and the whale song, these deeper frequencies, these deeper vibrations. Mm. Have fun. Last but not least, Pisces. What's coming up for you with this Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn retrograde? Yeah, okay. You've got two beautiful cards. Somebody tried to steal something from you. You're feeling it. You're feeling like somebody's trying to steal something from you. You've got the crow and you've got the cosmic egg. Okay. And we see here, like your wisdom was holding on to the cosmic egg, but then the other one, the crow, is kind of like almost dropping it. It's holding on to it too, but a little bit lighter. And there's more of a, this is my precious energy over here. And oh, I got to steal this for the clout over here. It literally feels as something or someone tried to steal something for you. And either you're now holding it onto it for dear life, and won't allow it to grow or develop, or you're kind of not giving it the reverence or the honor that it needs. Some kind of aspect about you. This could be your art. This could be your song, your word, your friendship, your love, your heart, you. This could be your value. This feels like because the crow flies in a murder of crows. Isn't that a weird way to call a group of crows? But it's called a murder. And it feels like you can rock it either by yourself. Actually, you level up when you're by yourself, Pisces. Like you need time by yourself. But you're looking to find someone who will value you for who you are, who will value you. You're looking for the right people. You're looking for the right person to take this you and create something beautiful out of it, or at least protect it. Yeah. People have taken you before and dropped you. They promised you that they were going to create something beautiful out of you, but they ended up dropping you as they flew. And they flew on to wherever they needed to go, but you were way off track, further downstream, lost in the jungle. And now you're refining yourself. Pluto and Capricorn is going to take all of this out. All these elements, all these people, all these beings that didn't help you when you needed help, that used you when you needed help, that stepped on you, spat on you, abused you when you needed help. It's all going out. And remember that a crow is a psychopomp. It is the guide to the lower realms. It can guide souls and spirits, beings into the lower realms, but also bring them back out again. So there's some kind of a resurgence, a soul retrieval, possibly finally an aspect that is given back to you. But also a resurgence of the energies of who you were. So if you weren't living in your truth or you weren't living yourself for the longest time, with the removal of specific people and energies out of your life, you're going to return. Because then that aspect of you that went underground, then the crow knows where it is, then it'll feel safe to return and come back. Let me pull one more card for you, Pisces, because this is so typical you and mystical. This is also going to be like for, I forget which sign, this is going to be a fast-moving time. It's a fast-moving time to learn the value of your own worth, who you want to surround yourself with, and to put yourself behind the glass. Remember that saying that everything that has a high tag or a high value is behind glass or behind bars. It's not easily accessible. So put yourself behind glass so that only those that can afford you can take you out, can look at you, can connect with you. And when I say afford, clearly, if that's you and the material, no judgment here, but it's literally being able to see you for who you are, your soul, your spirit, your being, your essence. So Pisces, this is a fantastic time for you to weep, to sift the chaff, right? And to yeah, to determine who's going to be in your boat and who you're going to continue to ride with and row for, because the people you surround yourself with are super important. Super, super, super important. So it does feel though as if this is about your self-value and your self-worth. Okay. So that's what's going to show up. And the results of your self-worth and your self-value are going to show up too. So you're going to be able to see how you directly how directly your self-worth and value is correlated, connected to the kind of people you hang with, roll with, the people that are gravitating towards you, and directly who you should be with and be around. Okay. So I'll leave it at that, Pisces. It's you'll see when the time rolls around. But this is a time where don't be surprised, friendships can go downhill for you. Absolutely. Um, People that don't show up for you the way that they're supposed to show up for you, you will be cutting them out of your life. And once they're out of your life and you're out of theirs, you're gone. And they can be crying after you, they can be, but there's no way back. The bridges have been burned. And so Pluto's really going to radically disconnect you from anything that is hurting you or harming you. So please don't fall into crying about this, okay? I know I feel it already. It's going to be a little difficult for you, but don't fall into crying about this too long or too much, because it's actually happening to your benefit. Whoever's removed from your life during this time, Pisces, believe me, Spirit saw things you didn't see, heard things you didn't hear, knows things you don't know. And these people needed to leave your life in order for you to be able to move forward in your life's mission and purpose. Okay, so praise God. Thank God when everything goes down, when it happens. Okay. All right, you guys, that's it for the Pluto in Capricorn retro. And that's coming up from September through to October. And I hope whatever you need to do that you get it done during that time, because it's the perfect time to do so. It's absolutely the perfect time to do so. So you can enter into the Aquarian age, which I'll talk about in a different video, in a clear, fresh way, ready to roll, ready to rumble, ready to, yeah, we ride at dawns, right? Ready to do all that and to really be a part of the restructuring that is going to happen over the next time to come. And remember, from now until 2027, we'll be able to have a glimpse of the promised land, right? But we won't be stepping into it just quite yet. We're gonna go for a ride first. Okay, you guys. So I'll see you on the next one, and take care. And I'll be doing soon a Pluto and Aquarius video as well. All right, bye, adios.